Good morning, team. I just want to give a quick audio check. Bill, can you unmute for me real fast? I just want to make sure that you're loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
Perfect. All right, awesome. All right, I'm just waiting for Sandra, and then we're almost done. We'll kick this show off.
Awesome.
Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, team. Usually about this time, I like to just kind of get a feel for the room. Everybody can hear me well? Good. Bill, if you don't mind, while we're just waiting for Sandra to come on in, I just ran over there, so she should be logging on shortly. Just give me a quick sound check.
Yep, absolutely.
Love it. Perfect. Guys, we are recording. We love to see smiling faces. Believe me when I tell you, your hosts need your energy as much as you need theirs. So we love to see smiling faces. If you can't come off whatever it is you're doing, hang out with us for a little bit. Hopefully actually not hopefully, I trust that you guys will absolutely get something out of this. They've got great content to share. In the meantime, I want to make sure that I do one quick item here. Hold on, I'm still looking for, there she is. All right, Sandra. All right, and everybody's coming on. We got a few more minutes. Hey, Sandra, good morning. Sandra, if you don't mind, do me a huge favor. Just give me a quick sound check. I want to make sure that we're good audio-wise. Sandra, can you hear me?
I can. Yep.
There you go. Perfect. All right, now we can hear you. Love it. So here's kind of how I'll do this. I'm going to set you guys free in just a few minutes. We've got about 3 more minutes. I'll keep an eye on the chat. So if we see something in the chat area and people ask questions, then I'll kind of keep an eye on that and give you guys the heads up. And for the most part, the show is yours.
Awesome. And if I want to do a screen share for a PowerPoint.
Perfect. Do me a favor. You should have screen share capability right now.
Okay. Do I just press the green share screen button?
You got it.
Awesome.
So while we're wrapping up these first few minutes here, I just wanted to give everybody a good morning, everybody. I saw Nancy's on, Elaine, Tony, thank you for being here. Joanne, we'd love to see your smiling face. Layla, if you can join us, smiling. Pamela, same thing. I understand if you can't, you won't hurt my feelings, but we'd love to see your smiling faces, guys. All right, Sandra, Bill, show's yours.
Awesome. All right. Well, before we get into it with our special guest today, which I'm super excited about, I wanted to just take a couple of minutes to kind of explain like why we're even here. I started this idea because I actually was on the ALC in the Weston office for finance. And, you know, I'm a CPA, that's my background. So I want to give back to the office. And that was kind of where they asked me to step in. And so I did, but I wasn't all that excited about it, to be honest with you. And then I heard from another office that there was a luxury ALC chair. And I thought, that is what I'm passionate about. That is exciting. So I asked my office if I could do that instead, and they luckily said yes. So I jumped on that and, you know, trying to figure this thing out. What do we do with this? What do we do with luxury? How do we grow that business here? How do we become the luxury experts? How do we become known for luxury here in our area? I know throughout the country, it's different everywhere, depending on, you know, who's selling what and what company is considered the most luxury. And I would say, I don't think that KW is what first comes to mind in our small area here. So that's kind of where my passion came from, is I want to grow this. I want to be known as the luxury people. So how do we do that? And so this is one of the ways that I want to get started and say, we are luxury. We are here to compete in the luxury market, and we are here to take it over. So I hope that you guys are going to join me on this journey. I think that there's a lot of potential here. And that's why I brought Bill in to give us a little pep talk and teach us a little bit about what he's done and what is his background and where did he come from. So Bill, I'm going to just jump right into you. And thank you so much for joining us. Just to give you guys a little background on Bill, he's out of the Asheville, North Carolina market. He's been doing this for a super long time, 3 years. Yes, I said 3 years. Unbelievable the things that he's been able to accomplish in 3 short years. He is in 2020, he was the rising star for the Real Producers magazine. This year, or 2021, he was the cover of the Real Producers magazine. He is the top 40 of 40. I don't know if I said that right, but in the top 40, under 40. That's it. I got it. And the list goes on and on. He's amazing, and he is well on his way. Oops, my computer's ringing at me. He's well on his way to Gary's top 100 individual agents, and I believe he's going to be there soon. So welcome, Bill.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Super glad to have you. So I would say just jump right in. Give us a little history here. 3 years. That's amazing.
Yep, 3 years. I moved to Asheville September 2nd, 2018. Had zero intentions of doing real estate when I moved here. A little bit about my story that I share on most when I first start is I moved here for sobriety. I was an everyday drinker and drug user for about 5-6 years, and it got really, really bad. I went to jail. Walked across traffic to end my life. Fell in the woods to a 35-foot ravine straight to the bottom, and the cops pulled me out. That was where my life was. And went to jail for 7 days and then went to rehab. Went there for 28 days. And then they said, where are you going to move to? You can move to Wilmington or you can move to Asheville. Wilmington sounded fun. So I said, let's go to boring Asheville. Asheville just sounded miserable. So it just didn't sound great. So did that and started my life over. Worked for Chick-fil-A. I had to catch the 5:15 bus to get there by 8 o'clock every morning, which was only a 10-minute drive, but didn't have a car, didn't have a driver's license. I had a real estate license, but I never did anything with it, and it was under review. You may know Stephen Cooley. He's one of my mentors, and he's not with KW anymore. He's on his own, but he kind of got me started and said, I think you can sell houses. And I said, Stephen, I don't have a car. That this Western North Carolina is pretty spread out. And I said, I think that's an excuse. And I said, okay. So I met with Jeff Stewart, our team leader at the time. And he said, I think you can sell houses. I said, I still think you're crazy. And, that first year, I'm pretty sure I want to say it was 12 homes I sold. It was about 5 million. I capped without a car. So I paid $24,000. And I paid $12,000 in Uber too, to do that. But yeah, that's my first $1 million home sale. I was telling Sandra this morning on the phone that my first $1 million home sale, I didn't even have a car. They were a 4-duty walk-in. They bought a $1.5 million home in the Ramble, and it's a gated community here in town. And I hired someone with a BMW because I thought that mattered. And I can promise you it did not. They could have cared less. But yeah, so that's sort of my Asheville story, how I got here. And today, after this week, we'll sell about 90 homes in 3 years. I have an assistant with me now, but I did it for a long time just by myself. And yeah, it's been a wild journey.
That's amazing, Bill. So I hear you say you didn't even have a car. You don't need a car. You thought you needed a BMW to sell a house, and they didn't care. They did not care what you drove.
No, they wanted the service. They wanted the knowledge. They wanted me showing up genuine and authentic. That's what they wanted. And they wanted someone that cared. They wanted someone that was going to take good care of them because they didn't live here full time. They didn't live here at that moment. That the service that I then provided them, I mean, I pretty much babysat their house for a year until they moved here. I mean, that was just the level of service that I did. I met with contractors, I met with people, and it was, yeah, it was just the things, what you focus on expands. And I really truly believe that you can have reasons or results, and you can't have both. I could have had every reason in the world, and I did, trust me, I did. But the people I surrounded myself around in my circle believed in me more than I believed in myself. And, it's definitely been a journey.
I love that, Bill. I love that. I often hear from people, I can't do luxury. Look at the car I drive. I can't drive up to a house in this car. I need to get a new car. So what do you say to that?
That it is, it's about, I would say 90% don't care. You know, I have a $10 million listing right now, and it just went under contract. And the folks showing up to see that $10 million listing, you're like, oh, these are going to be like top. No, they weren't. They were showing up in shorts and a t-shirt and a hat. You know, I was overdressed wearing what I wear on a normal everyday basis. So, you know, we get so wrapped up in what we think it's going to be and what it should be, instead of just being ourselves. You know, that's now there's some that expect that level. I'm not going to say there's some that expect it, but on the whole, I've noticed. I mean, I saw a bank account, or I saw a proof of funds for 500 million, and those folks showed up looking like everyday people. So, and they want to be treated like everyday people too. So, you know, my other background that we talked about this morning, I was a golf pro. I've been a PGA professional since 2014. I was at the club at Longview. You know, it was 65,000 initiation to join. You know, you're around the top of the top, and it's just offering that level of service. That's what they want, you know. And if you can provide that, then you got your foot in the door.
Awesome. So it's more about the service than it is about the car you're driving.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
I love that.
Once when they know you care, that's what they want. And you have their best interest at heart, because they're making a massive financial decision.
Got it. All right. So tell us, what does a day in your life look like? I know every day is probably a little bit different, but tell us a little bit about what your day looks like now.
Yep. So I live wherever it went. Here it is, right here. I live by my bold calendar. I think I have, but yeah, it's pretty structured. I'm still 50-50 listings to buyers. So, and it's by myself. I have an assistant and a transaction coordinator. We are my goal. So I hired a coach early on. And that coach and we worked on, contacts per day. You know, I'm kind of not typical when it comes to my lead gen time, where I focus on 18 contacts a day now. It was 15 early on. I've just narrowed it down to what I need to do. If I get 15 contacts and set at least one appointment, I'm good for the day. On average, I'm probably setting 2 appointments a day. Now whether they fizzle out or pan out, that's what's neither here nor there, but that's my goal. And I tracked it for 90 days when I first started it, and about $6 million for the business came out of just 15 contacts a day.
Wow, that's great. So when you say contacts a day, that's not dials, that's actual conversation.
Yep. And I'm talking to it. So it counts as text message, emails back and forth. I count that are real estate conversations related, Facebook Messenger, phone calls, and face-to-face in person. So a lot of mine is face-to-face in person, where, you know, I have special interest groups that I'm in, church, I get a lot from there, and golf. So I set up with that member at the nicest club in town once a quarter. I have him set up with him, myself, and 2 new people that I've never met that are members of the
club. I love that.
And that's who I go and play golf with for the quarter. And I get to go meet people in that neighborhood that I probably wouldn't meet otherwise.
Very nice.
Yeah. So that's my other lead gen source.
That's awesome. I love that you said that the conversations can come from texting, phone calls, or in person. So it's, as long as it's a true conversation back and forth, you consider that to be one of you said 18, right?
18 per day.
Okay, great.
And I'm talking to people that I know. So I don't dial expireds. I don't dial for sale by owners. I'm talking to the people that I have 5,000 friends on Facebook. So I try to just go down the list, and they're going in my database, and we're really utilizing command right now. So it's doing the heavy lifting for us as well. So
that's great. I love to hear that. So what kind of marketing do you do? Do you focus strictly on a luxury kind of marketing, or I did see that your sales don't just include luxury. You've got some in the lower price range, and then you've got this, you know, your crazy $9 million one, which is gorgeous. Yep. So what does your marketing look like?
Yep. So it's really, a lot of it comes from social media. I really just blast. I mean, I probably post 10 times a day, and it's the 80-20 rule applies to this. I mean, I'm 80% personal, 20% business. People know that I can sell them a house. You know, I tell people that sell houses for fun most of the time, but I change lives for a living. And, I share like this story, I share my story a lot. And then it's amazing that I sold a house to some folks, and then they called me back a year later and said, I know you were our realtor, but can you help us with, my son is blah, 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 blah. My son is having the same issues that you were having. Can you help with that too? So that's a little bit more about why I do it. And, you get to impact lives on a greater level than just selling them a house, but that's definitely part of it.
Wow. That's great. And it's refreshing that you're willing to share your story, not just here with us, but also with your clients. And I saw your post on Facebook about your social media. Yep. Congratulations to you. It's amazing what you've accomplished in 3 years.
Yeah, but to answer, it's really social media and word of mouth now. And how I started with in floor duty, I still sit on floor duty and answer the phones, even 3 years into it. You never know who's going to call. But that's my big one. Sphere and referral. So my GPS looks sphere and referral, mindset, and database. So that's where my leads are coming from these days.
That's great. So would you consider yourself a high I? Are you a big extrovert, and is that? Yeah.
It's mine was DI.
DI. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So just tell me what I need to know, but I can work a party pretty well.
That's awesome. And I love your Facebook picture, your main picture where you've got a golf club. So, some of your character just comes right out in that picture. We see the guy behind the picture. We see a fun, a guy who wants to have fun.
Yeah.
And I think that really shows through. And, it's very personable. Like you feel like you just looking at your picture and your smiling face.
And that's probably the one thing. And I challenge everyone on the call to get your social media or anything, to a point to where I walk into like mega camp or a family reunion and people say, I know who you are, but we've never met.
I love that.
That's connecting on a different level. That's the connection that I hope to get with everyone, is that, we are. And that's why I built a good referral network. And by sharing and by just being my true self, that's what it's about.
So tell me a little bit about, you're now a luxury ambassador.
Yes. So that one came.
What that is. I bet most people on this call don't even know what that is. They've not even heard of it because it's so new. But 3 years in and you're the ambassador. Tell us about that.
Yep. So Brady got with me at Spring Masterminds, and he offered me this opportunity. So I had reached out to the Keller Williams Luxury kind of ecosystem on Facebook about a year ago. I started as the ALC Luxury Chair, and there really wasn't a group that got together and talked about how we can grow how we can grow luxury in our market centers. And that's been like you said, it's not your area, just like, there's competition, for the luxury space. And how can we bring the vision and the brand of up top down to our individual centers? And I created a luxury ALC mastermind that meets once a month, the first Thursday of the month at 5:30. And there's about 40 to 50 of us that get on that call from all over, even Canada and everywhere. So I really just took an initiative to grow. And Brady, I met with Brady and Caroline both, and I said, what do I do in order to get my business off the ground? I bothered them enough to where, I think we're on speed dial now. So, it's what you focus on expands, and that's truly what it is. And Brady said, I want to help you grow your business, and I think this is a good opportunity to do that. And here we are today. So now I get to help other people do what other people helped me do. And that's what it's about for me today, is about giving back.
That's great. And we appreciate that. We appreciate you here and on the ALC. I haven't made it to your Thursday calls yet, but I'm going to get there.
Absolutely.
You said earlier when we spoke that, you really started out with no luxury, and then you decided you were going to be luxury. It wasn't a matter of, you worked your way up to it. You literally said, I'm going to be luxury, and you made it happen. Like you put it in the universe and then it became.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Our team leader laughs about it today. He's like, you really put yourself in this space, and you believed it before you even were it. And that's what I did. But I went and toured like all the luxury communities. I planned before I executed, I guess we can call it that. I went and toured all the luxury communities that were in town. That was in 2019. And I'll be darned, in November of 2019, the Gallaghers come into the office, and I knew right where to take them based off of those communities that I went and toured. So I knew right where to take them to the Ramble. That's exactly what they wanted. They wanted a gated community in town. They wanted they're kind of, I'd say, cathedral style houses. Theirs is kind of old world theme, but that's what they were looking for. And then they came here, then they left, and then we did it all via FaceTime. So that was it. But planned before I executed, and that was important.
So you planned and you learned, you educated yourself on the market, the industry, the neighborhood, so that you were the expert. Even though you'd never sold anything, you were the expert. You knew everything about it.
I knew everything about it, absolutely, about each one. And I went and toured the cliffs at Walnut Cove. It's a Jack Nicklaus signature golf course. Then you have the Ramble at Biltmore Forest. So Biltmore Forest is one of the oldest communities in the area. And I went and toured in Biltmore Lakes. That's another one. I sold a lot over there by sheer accident, but I sold it. And it's just going and being a part of, and then you know about it. So then when someone comes, I'm not fumbling on the 1 yard line. I'm actually getting it, and we're going in.
I love that. So if you build it, they will come.
Absolutely. Yep. And then I put it out, and then I got involved in the Facebook group. So for the earned in agents on this call, I highly recommend getting involved in the Facebook group. It is, even if you're just posting a question once a week and getting interaction, and people are getting to know you. And that's just what I did. And then I provided value. So I provided that luxury ALC call that everyone comes on, and Brady is a part of. I conned him into joining me. So you provide value to people, and then that's how I got that momentum.
How do you let people know what value you have? People don't necessarily know you, but you're trying to get business. How are you getting that message out besides social media? Is there other avenues as well?
That's probably my biggest one right now. In person, the sphere. So that value that I provide to those past clients, now they're telling their friends, and there's where the Gallaghers have sent me 3 friends since then. So wow, Bill gave us this service, and he's literally, they have a house in Telluride, Colorado, and I watch their house for 3 months, even while they leave. So, who's going to do that? Now, they even said not many agents are going to do that for us, even after the fact. So, and then they just sent me their son, who's going under contract on a $6 million home. So it all just, I just go the extra mile, and there's not many people on that road. So.
Right. So it's the detail and the complete package that you're giving people. It doesn't start and end with real estate. Real estate is just part of what you're doing. You're really giving them a full service from start to finish. And 10 years later, you'll still be probably with those same clients, giving them that same level of service, even if they're not selling something.
Absolutely.
And as a result of that, you're getting referrals from people still in their sphere, which luxury people tend to have friends in luxury, right?
Absolutely.
So it's now growing very organically.
Now it is, yes, yeah, and and it took some time. I mean, this wasn't something that happened overnight. This was something that here we are 3 years later, and it's finally coming to fruition. Here we are. And it's still growing. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm closer to where I'm closer. And it's getting bigger, and it's getting better. But yeah, like you said, all price points. And luxury, Brady says it best. Luxury is not a price point, but it's an experience. Those folks, I don't care, the $14,000 lot that I sold this year, she gets the same experience that some of these other folks over here that are the $10 million sellers get too. But it's and she feels it, and she says, I've never felt an agent treat me like this before. she said that. And I was like, that's my goal every day, is I don't care which end of the spectrum that you're on.
That's great. And do you do like gifting throughout your process or throughout the transaction? Do you do any special gifts or anything like that?
So yeah, migrating into that now. That's the surprise and delight. So they, with homes going, like this home went under contract in 81 days. So you don't have a whole lot of time per se. And it's closing in 45. So probably 4 intervals, I think, is best. Brady has 8, but I don't know that you have a whole lot of in this markets. Like our market's still a little crazy here. I don't know if you have enough. You don't have 8 opportunities to surprise and delight. But I think listing agreement, your first appointment, then photography day, and then going in due diligence under contract, and then closing. I think that was 4 things that we've identified that's a good to surprise and delight them.
I like that. And what does that look like? Is that you bringing it with you? Is it somebody else dropping off for you?
Probably it's going to be a combination of both, so I'm still really hands-on with everyone. I'm sure as I get bigger that it's going to have to change, but I'm learning that now. Like I said, I have 2 assistants. One's virtual, my transaction coordinator, so she wouldn't do it, but Leslie in my office with me now, we will both be tag teaming on that one.
Have you identified what those drop-off gifts will be? Somebody's asking in the chat.
Yeah. So the first one, I really like Brady's, his one on the candle that at photography day, that it's something to the tune of, we will find a buyer for your home by the time the wick burns out.
Oh, I like that.
So that's one of my favorite ones. And they offer a book, that the one thing, at the listing presentation, and they say our one thing is to find a buyer for your home. Here's a book that talks about what we're going to do for you. We're going to focus on our one thing, which is to sell your home and net you the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of hassle, something to that extent. And then the last 2. So I like that closing gift. I kind of make it special to the person right now. So like I've got one coming up. It's going to be an Airbnb, and they're getting a wood-fired plaque with their name on it. With the Brunsons is what's going to be, and it's going to have a bear on it. The bear themed is what their climbing bear is their Airbnb. So it's going to be themed like that. So that I'm still kind of playing around with it a little bit.
Okay. So that sounds like some great ideas, though.
Yeah, but the candle one is probably my favorite. I think people will really like that one.
I like that. And I've got 50 candles sitting in my office, so now I know what I'm going to do with them. Thank you for that. So what's next for Bill?
Yeah, so it's still growing. I mean, if you look on my board, I mean, we're still going crazy here. And this is my busy quarter. So the end of the one right after school goes back. I'm probably going to hire another assistant. Probably. I don't really want to get a team. That's not really my thing. But I really want maybe 2 assistants in the office with me, plus the transaction coordinator. So we can have 4 of us. That's sort of my dream, my goal of seeing it. But who knows? It's still a work in progress. We'll call it that.
Do you have a goal for this year in terms of production, or how do you measure your?
So volume wise, I wanted to do 17.5. I think closed and pending right now, we're going to be close to 20.
Nice.
And then next year, well, before the big one went under contract, that one's helping me a lot. But it was next year was 22 million in volume. So 660,000 in GCI is the goal.
Nice. And again, everybody keep in mind, this is year 3. We're on year 3 here. This isn't year 20 or 25. This is year 3. Somebody who was coming from literally no car.
I could fit everything I owned into a suitcase. Yeah, and then I conned my Uber driver into marrying me. So she drove me around. She's the most expensive Uber ride I ever took. but she's then we have a son, we have a 6-month-old. So you asked me what's next. That is what's next. He's walking and he's crawling right now. So trying to baby proof the house. That's my next adventure. And we're building. So we own one house right now that's going to become an investment property. So now it's kind of thinking bigger on that scale. So we're building another house right now in the same neighborhood. DR Horton is building our homes. So I like them because I get a lot of equity once I close on them a year later. And I got in sort of at the ground floor when they first got here. So I could turn around in a year and make 100+ on my townhouse. But we're gonna keep that as a rental. It'll rent for probably $3,000 a month. And then we're building a single family home. And then we're going to turn around and sell both. And then her dream is to live in the Ramble. So, or our dream, both of us. So we are going to, that's our 5 to 10 year goal, is to buy a house in the Ramble. So building wealth through real estate and then making dreams come true. So that's our goal.
That's great. I know that was the big theme at Mega Camp this year, right? It's wealth building. It's not just about what are you making this year and your profit. It's about wealth building and having multiple streams of income. And it sounds like you are well on your way to having all that in place.
Yeah, my why used to be that I just didn't want to be in the same spot that I was 4 years ago. And, I came here with like negative $150 in my bank account. I had overdrafted and spent it all, and I didn't want to be in that position ever again. And I've done what I needed to do in order to not make that happen. So it was I was the first one at the office in the morning and the last one to leave for a long time. And I still probably that on most days, but I definitely was that. So I see my 5-year goal. My 5-year goal was to be on stage with Gary Keller. So we're close. I'll say that. Are there specific things about a luxury property as an agent new to the area needs to know? Don't go. So my advice, and I tell everyone in this office here, and especially we're trying to elevate Keller Williams Luxury in your office, in our office, yours, everywhere. Don't go cheap on photography. Don't go cheap on, and you know what? Partner with someone that's in your office. I see Mark Benson on the call here. He's one of my favorite people, but partner with someone who's done it before, and then you'll have an idea of what to do. I just picked the brains of everyone that was around me. We have some great luxury agents in our office, and how can we get better? But don't go cheap on, the why people got into this $9 million house is I had my photographers and actual drive an hour and a half to go do it because no one in cashiers was to that caliber. I did a walkthrough video. We're putting it in, it's going to go in the magazine for Keller Williams Luxury, but it's the finer details that get people in the house, and the photography is number one in my opinion. So that was most important for me.
Do we have anything else in the chat? I'm sorry, I'm not seeing.
I was just looking at it now.
Perfect. Let me segue for just a second, guys, if you don't mind. Let me intervene. So a couple things I want to make sure that everybody knows. Please put your questions in the chat. This way they can see them, or we can bring them up very quickly. And don't forget that we will ask, or I will ask, because if any of you have ever been in a class with me, you don't get to stay quiet. I am going to ask you guys to give us a couple of ahas before we get off. So just make sure you're taking some notes. And that's it. I'll get back to you guys.
All right, so here we go. Do we have anything in the chat? It's not, oh, there it is on my end. Okay.
So far, Bill was able to get the 2 questions asked, which was, what was the 5-year goal, and the item specific to luxury property a new agent in the area needs to know.
And know your numbers, and in relation to like pictures and doing really good marketing, but know your numbers. Know the areas, know where the luxury people are coming from. Like I know that mine are coming from Atlanta, mine are coming from West Palm, they're from South Florida, they're coming from New York, they're coming from Texas. They're I know where they're coming from, and I know the areas that they're going to be that you're going to be looking in. So, I know a tear down in Biltmore Forest is 3 million right now for just a lot, for a 1.5, 2 acre lot. And you're going to tear down the house and start over. So, in High Hampton over in Cashiers, where my other house is, it's 4 million just for a tear down on the golf course. So, it's a little chaos still. So, yeah.
Bill, I know you said that you do golf outings regularly. Do you do any other events? Or I know you're only 3 years in, so you might not be there yet, but is that on the horizon?
Yep. So, we had our first client events last year. So, I've probably got 101 actual people in that forever client list now. The best one I think that everyone loved was the ice cream social that I did out in the parking lot of our Keller Williams office. It got everyone there. And that was, so we have an ice cream sandwich place down the street that they bring their little ice cream truck and they set up in the parking lot, and everyone got to meet everyone. We took pictures, and it was just, my lender was there, my closing attorney was there. So just a great event. And then we did Pie Day last year. I got Geraldine's pies that are downtown, so I didn't just get the low end. I spent about $10 a pie. So, and we did Pie Day for Thanksgiving, and it was really, really good. So.
Wow, and so simple, right? The ice cream truck, that's so simple.
It was, and people loved it, and they brought their kids, and it was just a great family event. So people really loved it.
And your high-end luxury people, they came too?
They really did. Yes, they did.
Awesome.
Because they have grandkids, and they have people that, that's what they move here. They move here for the amenities in these communities because they do have families, and that's what they want. And you can get them to show up, and you just tell them and they loved it. So
that's awesome. All right, so we've got a few questions coming in here. Somebody's asking, what is your average investment per listing from beginning to end? Like, what, I think they're asking how much are you spending on a listing?
Yep. So a walkthrough video for me is going to cost, if I do a full length, it was $500. If I do a 60-second video, it's about $250. Photos are costing me, I spend a lot on them. So anywhere from $300 to $500, depending on how many I get and the size of the property. And then we have to get it measured here. So I get it professionally measured. That's an additional $150. And then it's going to cost $1,000 to put it in one page ad in the Keller Williams Luxury magazine for that house. So all in total for, let's say, that $10 million house, it's probably going to be about $4 to $5 grand.
It's a good payoff.
It's a good payoff. Oh yeah, I'm paying that on a regular, on a $450,000 home, $500,000 home, which, in some 700 is the bare minimum for luxury in all of our market centers, but probably 1,600 is probably my average spend. So that's my probably 12 to 1,600.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Your past client stated that you made her feel special. Besides your 4 intervals, what do you think you do differently than other agents to provide that service?
Yeah, I just show up, honestly. Most agents just don't show up. I mean, if you do, 90% just don't do what they're supposed to do. And that's what she felt. She was one that had worked with other agents in the past, and they either didn't return her phone call. There's what you can do is answer your phone. That's number one. And I'm getting better at not answering the phone at 9 o'clock at night, but I still will answer the phone at 9 o'clock at night. And most people don't do that. I'm doing what other people don't do. But it's just showing up for, and answering the questions and going above and beyond. Like, we had the $20,000 lot that she had was one of the hardest deals I've had this year, and I didn't give up on her. And she about gave up 3 times. And I said, no, I think we can get it figured out. And, I'm working with the attorney. I'm going above and beyond, even on that lot, that she didn't expect. So exceeding their expectations is what I do very well.
Love that. Love that. Okay, let's see. When you started, your focus was 15 contacts per day. Is that new contacts or calling existing database? If existing, do you ever run out of people to call? I love that.
Yep. So if you were a real estate conversation for the day, I counted it. You know, whether I talked to you yesterday, today, it didn't, and that was irrelevant to me. I did, however, so now that COVID's kind of going away, we'll call it that. I think we can kind of get back to this. I didn't have contacts at first. I didn't know anyone. I moved to this town and didn't know a soul. So it was getting back to, I went and partnered with my lender, went to the coffee shop downtown Asheville, High Five Coffee, from 8:30 to 10 at their busiest time, and paid for everyone's coffee. All they had to do was take my business card and have a real estate conversation with me. They didn't have to do that. I just said, thank you for being a valuable member of the community. And then it was less confrontational for them, but they went out of that coffee shop saying, Bill Devore just bought me a cup of coffee. So that was, and then sharing the KW app. That was also what I did. So download my app, and I utilize the app. I utilize the website. I mean, I utilize everything that KW has to offer. So that was the big one for me. But going there and buying, I mean, I probably met 75 people in that hour and a half. So if you need people to meet, there's a good idea.
All right. I remember once we did a bold 100, and they were at Target and Home Depot, and yeah, so that's great. I mean, the coffee shop's a much better place to meet people, I think.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see. Do we have anything else? I think that's all the questions that we have. We have some ahas in here. Oh, we might have.
Sandra, let me ask this one that just came in.
Yeah.
Pamela asks, how do you leverage your admins to grow your business?
Yep. So she's actually sitting over here now doing work, listening, but she has really taken on the database portion. Like, she's growing the smart plans. She's getting everyone in it that needs to be in there. I did a Facebook ad campaign. We spent $25. We got 36 leads, and we're in conversation with probably 8 of them right now that are looking to buy. So it's all about those follow-up plans. And that's what she's doing. She's writing, she writes contracts for me. She does all the paperwork, the listing. She's licensed as well. That helps. So she's doing all the listing paperwork. She's doing the stuff that I'm better at being in front of people. I'm better at setting appointments. I'm better at doing this. I'm not good at just typing away at a listing agreement. Like, that's not my thing. And that's where I'm utilizing her. She's showing houses for me too. You know, it's not always in my best interest to be out and showing 4 houses for the day. And that's where she can come in and do that.
Nice.
Mark, is there one strategy you have found that has netted you the most luxury business for the time and investment that you made? Yes, I would say the time that I've invested in that group on the ALC luxury chairs, that you know, we get up, we do that monthly, that I have met a lot of the luxury sphere in the area and across the United States. It is being a part of those groups. It's really utilizing the KW luxury ecosystem. And you know, that was where this listing came from. It was a KW luxury referral. So that's important. And then getting in, and Brady helped me get it. So, you know, it was a tag team effort, but we really utilizing that is what I haven't spent a lot of money per se, but I've spent a lot of time, and that time is paying off. So
I like the way you qualified that. Not money, but time. It's the personal connection and interacting with people that you can learn from and receive referrals from, and you know, learn how to grow your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great. Somebody asked, do you do any farming of luxury areas, like postcards, newsletters, things like that?
No, because I don't, because I've seen what I do when I'm there at their house. when I'm with the Gallaghers at their house and they get Sotheby's and Beverly Hanks and all these other postcards, where do they go? They go right in the garbage. So I have found it better to call, just call the sphere that are here, so the ones that are in Tampa. So my sellers on the big house are in Tampa, and I've just built that relationship with them, with all three. There's three siblings, and I've just built that relationship. I built a relationship with the Gallaghers, with the folks that bought in the Cliffs, and they know when they have a friend ready that they know who to call, and I just check in on them and I keep up with them, and and they're friends with me on Facebook too. I'm friends with all of my clients, so I am not afraid to do that. So they keep up with my life just like I keep up with theirs. And then when something happens, I know when to reach out.
Got it. And with past clients, like say somebody who moved out of the area, do you have a set way that you're staying in touch with them, or a set number of times per year? If they move to California, are you still staying in touch with them?
There's some I don't want to keep in touch with. Some of them you can stay away. But no, the ones that I want to, absolutely. They're on the 36 touch with us. So they even the sellers, because they may want to move back. I still want to keep in touch with them. So they are still getting my emails. They'll be on a quarterly call plan. So we're still doing the database DTD2. As you know, in bold, do the database twice with your last name, and everyone's tagged with the A and W and everything in my database. So I know who to call for the week.
So you actually live by that process.
Yeah. I have learned, Tammy Young's taught me best. So she was my first bold coach, and her database, it's literally when we have focused on the database and we have gotten everyone in there and we're talking to them. We just put a $600,000 listing on the market from folks that bought it last year, and they just want to move closer to Asheville. So now we sold them last year, and now they're coming and buying their forever home closer into town. So there's two units right there that come just from a monthly neighborhood nurture, and they didn't forget about me. So
it sounds to me like you've gotten rid of that drunk monkey on your shoulder. You're not afraid of anything. You're not telling yourself crazy stories that, oh, they're not ready to sell, or they're not going to sell because they just bought. Like, you're open to everything, and you're prepared for when that happens, that they want to move in a year, you're there, and you've stayed in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's most important.
That's great.
Someone asked what's the 36 touch. Did you do that train? Did all this come natural to me? No. I went to script practice. I learned how to talk to people. I learned, my listing presentation just got better the more I did it. I'm sure some of them lasted like an hour and a half. Now they last maybe 30 minutes. I talked a lot. The less talking, ask better questions. And ask a lot of questions and get them talking, walk into their house and say, when a buyer walks into this house, what do you want them to see first? And what do you think is going to be the selling point? Start there, because then you're going to get them talking. Once you can get them talking, you can get them signing. And then, I had to train myself. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know. I was like, they don't want to talk to me. I don't have a car. I don't have anything. I'm going to fail. And that was a bad mindset. And you get out and do it more often. And I joined Op City, so I was getting at least some phone calls early on too. And it was, I'm sure I screwed up those too, and I still screw up today. But we fail forward, and that's the one thing that I love about KW and I love about Gary is we're gonna fail. I think I tried to be too perfect early on. Like I would plan before I had Inspire. I had Land Voice. This is my story on that is I had Land Voice, and I would plan before I even picked up the phone. Pick up the dang phone and make the calls. And I planned on everything that they were going to say. And you know what? They didn't say anything that I planned for. that was it. And it was like, this is crazy. Like, so I was like, and I thought I had to know all the answers. You don't have to know all the answers. You have to be able to find all the answers. There's what it is. There's the mindset shift, is when you say, okay, I don't know, but I know someone who does, and I will get that answer for you. I say that more times now than not. And they're like, okay. You're thinking, oh, they're going to be mad because I don't know. No, that's not the case. And then, but getting out of my comfort zone is practicing. You know, Jeff, I just saw him walk past my door. He was scary in scripts. If you know Jeff Stewart, he's intense. And he would call you out. He'd call you're scripting right now. And, you know, you just get out of your comfort zone and you get better and you learn how to do it. And then I had 5 script partners. So I had Olivia Cooley. I had a couple of others. I think I had 3 or 4 a week. And then I switched them up, and we would do a 5-minute phone call. We would call each other like she would do one, I would do one. And then we would give each other feedback, and she would give me some really hard objections, and I would just learn. And the objections that she was getting and the objections that I was getting, we were going back and forth with each other. And that was how I learned best, is by, you know, again, like how I did with my luxury business, prepare before you execute.
Mhm.
I'd rather practice on you guys than someone, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, out in the world. So that was the biggest takeaway that I took from that.
Nice. How did you find your script partners?
I posted out in the referral groups on Facebook. So if you're not in the referral groups on Facebook, there's your other thing, is just join. You know, I tell people, you know, you may not get the first couple, but keep putting your name on the list, and someone's gonna give you an opportunity. But I just posted out. I said, who's interested? And I posted it in bold too. I think that's where I posted it, in the bold group. And who's interested in learning? Who's interested in scripting? And goodness, you will get 20 people that will say, let's start script practicing.
And you're doing it over the phone. You're not doing it in person.
Over the phone. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I had it set up for we'd have a call, and it was that simple.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your calendar, like your time blocking. That it sounds to me like you do a really good job of guarding your time and you know, keeping things on schedule. Tell us a little bit about how you do that.
Yeah, so it's getting better. I've lived by this year, and like I said, I mean, it's booked solid till 5 o'clock tonight. But it is, and then I time block on Sundays, so I do it 1 day a week. I sit down and I say, okay, here's what I want. These are the non-negotiables that go on there first, and then everything else is scheduled around that. So church is a non-negotiable. You know, I don't miss that. I don't miss some of the meetings that I go to. I don't miss, you know, whatever it may be. I have classes coming. I got Jane Rivers I'm going to for a quad for something coming up next week, and then we got the luxury symposium. You know, so those things that are musts go on the calendar, and everything else gets scheduled around that. I don't schedule appointments and then I miss church. That's not what I want to do. That's not important to me.
All right. So Sunday night is the time, and you plan it out.
I plan it out, and then hopefully it works out. But you know, everything we pivot and adjust. So
yeah, best laid plans, right? But hey, at least you're starting from somewhere, so you have some structure to your schedule, and you're more in control of it than the clients and the whims of everybody else. Like you're trying to fit them into the buckets that you've created.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I say, you know, here's my first available time, and then, you know, everyone's thinking, well, I have to move my schedule around. They're like, you know, does your doctor move around his schedule for you? No, he doesn't. So here's the times that I have available, 4, 8, and then I got 2 o'clock tomorrow. Which one of those best fits your schedule? Great. Let's do 2 o'clock tomorrow. That fits us both. So I can see you in.
Mm-hmm.
If anything changes, let me know. So that's kind of how it works.
Awesome. So it's the way you're presenting it that makes it work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
And then what is the 36 touch? That is the, if you look in the MREA, it talks about 36 touches throughout the year for your database. 12, you know, they get a monthly neighborhood nurture. So there's 12 touches right there. 2 are client events, 4 are promotional items. So it really is how you want to work it. But at 36 touches, they're hearing from you 36 times a year through text, email, phone calls, client events, however that works.
Well, I think we got through all the questions. Adrian, do you want to do your thing?
Yeah, so I love this part of the meeting, right? So this is where I'm going to ask you guys, please come off mute. I know that you guys have gotten a ton and a wealth of information, but I want to just kind of kick us off because we want to ask, what's the aha, right? We've gotten the chance to spend some time with both Sandra and Bill, and guys, thank you so much for not only taking the time to pour into us, but and agents likewise, I want to thank you for staying and learning, because that's part of this business, right? Changes all the time. There's great strategies you can do and implement. Anyways, here's how I'll kick us off. Your aha is, what did you get from today that you walk away with saying, you know what, I got that, I understand that better, or I have a better understanding of it. Mine's a couple points, right? Bill, you said one that I had to type it because it sounded so good. Luxury is not a price point, and it's an experience. With the caveat that your customer said, I've never felt an agent treat me this way before. I can't imagine what that did for you or how that made you feel. And more importantly, what that did for your business, so that you said, you know what, my goal is to act like that or to show up like that for my customers every time. That's just awesome, right? All right, so I kind of open it up to the room, guys. Here's our goal, right? Because we always set goals. Let's hear from 5 people. Let's get some ahas. Please don't make me call anyone. Natalia, you're off mute. Go for it.
Okay, I'm just so impressed with what you had done. It's amazing. So I just want everybody, maybe we unmute and just clap. You are awesome. Listen, you are awesome. No words about.
Thank you.
I have a question for you. There is a very good friend of ours who is struggling with drugs. And he was very successful, very kind. What rehab center did you go that in? Would you recommend that?
Yep. I'll put it in the chat. It's called Hope Valley, and it's in Dobson, North Carolina.
Okay, I appreciate that. And can we all have your phone number or email for referrals?
Yep, and it's in the chat. I saw it there.
Okay, perfect. I see.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Let's go 3 or 4 more. You guys got a lot. There's plenty of you on the call. There's over 34 of you were on this call.
Okay, I can go.
Go for it, Tracy. Thank you.
All right. So I actually just joined last week. So for me, just knowing that I don't necessarily have to stay in one area, it's a bit more flexible. It's very comforting to know. Most of the things that were said are very encouraging and makes everything seem a little bit easier, but I'm sure it involves a lot more work. But, if you're willing to put the work in, I'm sure, it would be very rewarding. So it's just very comforting, to know that there's a lot of help where it might be needed. Partnering with a luxury agent, and also not being too cheap on the photography was a very good thing for me to know, because, thinking you're trying to go on a low budget to try and get this done, obviously, it's not necessarily going to work. And joining, different platforms like OpCity, you had mentioned, I did hear about them. So I think that was a really good point. And the only other thing, well, not only other thing, but one of the other things would be, just joining different platforms and trying to do more scripting to get a little bit more familiar with communicating.
Love it, Tracy. I love that you got that. Don't cheap out on the product, right? Or don't skimp out on the value of the product. Love that.
Right, exactly.
Love it. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, we got 2 more. We got time for 2 more. Let's go.
I'll go.
Hey, Tatiana.
Hi, I just want to say, Bill, you are absolutely amazing. And it was very, very encouraging just to hear you speak. And I just want to thank you for your time, because you seem like a very busy person. But I've heard the term before, fail forward, but I actually heard it different today. So I want to thank you for actually saying it. And also, saying pick up the phone and make calls. And, you try to plan and you try to be perfect, but you're not. And what also stuck out for me is you're not going to have all the answers, but you can find all the answers. Oh my gosh, that stuck out so much. So I just want to thank you. That was a great takeaway for me. God bless you and your family.
Love that. Give me 1 more, guys. Thank you for sharing, Tatiana. Bill, you know what while we get our last aha, what I enjoyed the most about what Tatiana said is that there's got to be a willingness and this is a relationship building business, right? And we've got to be willing to be vulnerable to some degree. And you put it out there pretty fast, and I was like, oh my gosh, wow, he was not only willing to be vulnerable, but to express that we're imperfect and that we may have mistakes, and more importantly, that be okay with that, right? And your customer will see through that and appreciate that for what it is that you're a real human being, and that you're going to show up that way, and that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, give me one last aha so we can wrap us up, guys.
Hey,
There you go, Tony. Good morning.
how are you guys? Hey, great job, Bill. Thanks, Sandra, for the interview. It was awesome. You guys did a good job. I really enjoyed how you have those intervals set for the gift giving, but that kind of leads me to a question. If you said you're giving a gift, I'm signing the listing agreement. So if I sign somebody this morning and my photographer is out there in 3-4 days, you're giving a second gift 3-4 days from now?
Yep. So they get that gift is with tissue paper and a nice candle. That's actually the candle. That's the second one. And people I have learned, they love opening gifts. So they're not going to turn you down on another gift. So
Got it. So you're not just trying to spread it out like, okay, perfect. I guess that was the cheap side of me trying to kind of skim on gifts, but got it.
Bill, do they get the gift if they don't sign?
I don't know. I'm still working on that one. So we'll see. We'll see.
Got it.
Love it. Well, Sandra, Bill, one more time, I want to thank you guys so much for putting this together. And I just want to close this out with my last aha, right? Guys, if you do what every other agent does, then you're going to have and achieve the results that every other agent has. If you want the results no other agent has, do the things that no other agent has. I'm sorry, that no other agent does. There again, imperfect. Guys, again, appreciate your time. We want to respect your time. We're out. If there's nothing else, guys, thanks so much for staying with us. This was awesome.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Bill. I really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Take care.